Imagine finding yourself confined to a hospital bed while physicians pronounce you gone. Your loved ones grieve your departure, and within 24 hours you're interred in the ground, yet you're aware of every sound, every word, just unable to respond or move. This sounds like something from a nightmare, right? Actually, this very situation occurred to Clairvius Narcisse in Haiti during 1962, with American medical professionals documenting the entire event. We're about to explore one of our planet's most spine-tingling enigmas. Zombies aren't merely cinematic creations, but actual occurrences backed by solid scientific evidence. We'll uncover how Caribbean mystics convert the living into compliant undead servants, examine what researchers at Harvard uncovered in their studies, and understand why contemporary academia takes ancient spiritual practices seriously. Are you prepared to enter a realm where empirical research intersects with the supernatural? Let's begin at the source. The term zombie originates from languages of Central Africa. Zombie signified deity, departed spirit, or phantom. But what transformed this African concept into a worldwide symbol of dread? The story starts during the 1600s and 1700s in what's now Haiti, then known as the French territory of Saint-Domingue. Countless enslaved Africans were transported to labor on sugar estates. Living conditions proved so harsh that many chose to take their own lives. This is where the most chilling legend took root. Those in bondage held the belief that self-harm would prevent their return to African ancestors, condemning them to eternal wandering as neither fully alive nor truly departed. Consider this: even their final escape offered no relief. This represented psychological control more devastating than physical restraints. As time passed, African spiritual practices merged with Christian doctrine and indigenous customs, forming what became known as Voodoo. Within this framework, zombies gained fresh significance, individuals robbed of their essence and autonomy by spiritual leaders called bokors. Think about how we describe checked-out workers in today's corporate world. In that era, such descriptions carried literal meaning. The earliest documented use of zombie appears in 1819, noted by British poet Robert Southey in his History of Brazil. Here's a fascinating detail. Biblical texts contain numerous accounts of the departed returning, from Ezekiel's visions to Lazarus rising again. Perhaps these ancient stories contained elements of truth. Within Haitian culture, this transformation became the supreme form of punishment. More severe than execution, because offenders lost not their existence, but their independence. This represented social control at its most fundamental: follow society's rules, or become a mindless servant. These priest-sorcerers guarded their methods with absolute secrecy. They served as both judge and executioner in one. Remarkably, many contemporary Haitians continue believing in these phenomena. For them, it's not entertainment but lived reality. Western civilization dismissed these accounts as backward folklore for centuries. That changed when anthropologist Zora Neale Hurston observed in the 1930s. The issue isn't resurrection, but rather how certain compounds can simulate the appearance of being gone. Her insight proved prophetic, though verification would take decades. Let's examine the 20th century's most puzzling incident. April 30th, 1962. Clairvius Narcisse arrived at Schweitzer Hospital in Haiti, experiencing fever, bloody coughing, and intense discomfort. American physicians struggled to diagnose his condition as it worsened rapidly. May 2nd marked Narcisse's official departure from life. Medical staff, 2 nurses and 1 doctor, confirmed his passing. His sister pressed her thumb to the official document since literacy wasn't among her skills. The family conducted their mourning rituals and laid him to rest in their community cemetery. It appeared to be a typical sorrowful ending. However, 1980 brought an extraordinary twist. After 18 full years, Clairvius Narcisse walked back into his hometown. At the local market, he approached his sister Angelina using a pet name from childhood that only family members knew. Though stunned, she immediately recognized him as her brother. What account did this returned man provide? He claimed full awareness throughout his ordeal. every declaration of his passing, each tear shed by relatives, the sound of earth hitting his casket, all remained clear in his memory. His physical form simply refused to respond. This constituted a genuine waking horror. Following his internment, Narcisse reported that a certain Beaucourt with helpers retrieved him from the ground. After reviving the deceased, they transported him to an isolated farm where he labored for 16 years beside other zombies. These individuals moved through life in complete emotional numbness, functioning and working, yet seemingly hollow inside. His liberation came only when the plantation supervisor passed away in 1976. Full recovery required an additional 2 years. Picture nearly 20 years vanishing like they never happened. The most disturbing aspect, he retained memories of each day during this ordeal. Doubters immediately responded, obviously an imposter, a complete fabrication. Yet, medical professionals examining Narcisse in 1980 discovered a distinctive scar from childhood trauma, plus additional markers consistent with his 1962 health records. Though DNA analysis wasn't available then, the supporting evidence proved compelling. When Narcisse's account reached media outlets, it sent shockwaves through scientific circles. Could traditional healers actually produce the walking dead? If true, through what methods? Haitian mental health specialist Lamarck Douillon dedicated decades to gathering similar reports and remained certain. Beneath the mystical explanations lay concrete scientific principles. Harvard's young plant researcher Wade Davis accepted the challenge of solving this puzzle. In 1982, he journeyed to Haiti with a single objective: acquire specimens of the legendary zombie dust and analyze its components. His discoveries revolutionized understanding about the line separating life from its absence. Wade Davis entered Haiti as a legitimate academic investigator, not a casual visitor. Through BBC connections that had previously reported on Narcisse's situation, he made contact with Marcel Pierre, a tavern proprietor who also practiced mystical arts. What others had pursued unsuccessfully for years, Davis secured within weeks. Marcel consented to provide zombie powder specimens, though with one requirement: purchasers needed to understand their intended purpose. Davis frankly described his research mission. Notably, various Beaucourts employed distinct formulations, yet 5 components consistently appeared: charred human remains, a small arboreal amphibian, marine invertebrate, large toad species, and fugu fish. This final ingredient proved crucial. Fugu represents that notorious Japanese culinary specialty capable of causing fatality through chef error. Japan documents numerous fugu-related poisoning incidents yearly, with symptoms strikingly resembling zombification descriptions. Davis transported powder specimens to Harvard for analysis in premier research facilities. Results surpassed all projections. Every sample contained tetrodotoxin. This ranks among Earth's most potent non-protein poisons, exceeding cyanide's toxicity by 1,200 times. Yet here lies the remarkable aspect. Tetrodotoxin, at specific doses, doesn't cause demise. It produces conditions virtually identical to being gone. Heart rhythm drops to nearly undetectable levels, respiration becomes extremely shallow, complete physical paralysis occurs. Consciousness may persist throughout. Envision the terror. Full mental awareness while unable to perform the smallest movement. Japanese medical documentation includes incidents resembling horror fiction. One man departed from fugu poisoning, regained consciousness a week later in the morgue, reporting complete memory of his passing experience. Another deceased individual revived during transport to cremation. Fortunately, Japan practices delayed body disposal. Swiss toxicology experts Benedicte and Riviere validated Davis's work in 1989, confirming tetrodotoxin's presence in Haitian samples. The academic journal Toxicon published their findings. Mystical practices gained empirical support. But what's the complete mechanism? Beaucourts apply powder through minor skin breaks or abrasions. Hours later, subjects enter comatose states. Medical personnel or family members unfamiliar with this poison's effects declare them gone and arrange burial. Then comes the most disturbing phase. 1 or 2 days afterward, the Bokor and associates excavate the victim. While tetrodotoxin effects diminish, they immediately administer additional compounds, typically Jimson weed. This botanical substance produces hallucinations, memory disruption, and total compliance. The outcome transforms individuals into programmable automatons. They ambulate, labor, respond to basic instructions, yet lack independent thought or critical reasoning. Contemporary terminology would describe this as pharmaceutical personality control. Frightening, but remarkably efficient. Nevertheless, not every scientist endorsed Davis's interpretations. Toxicologist Chen Yuan Cao stated in 1988 that he viewed the research as academic deception. Skeptics noted tetrodotoxin concentrations in samples appeared insufficient for producing zombification results. These discussions persist currently. Still, facts speak clearly. 1997's The Lancet Medical Journal documented 3 additional zombification incidents from the 1990s. Perhaps traditional Bokors understood human biology better than modern assumptions suggest. Narcisse's experience wasn't unique. During that same 1980 when he returned, 2 other women emerged elsewhere in Haiti asserting they were zombies. Rural residents in northern regions reported finding entire groups of living dead moving aimlessly across farmland. The Lancet describes the most remarkable case. Authorities declared a woman deceased and placed her in the family tomb. 3 years later, she materialized in her birth community. Relatives and neighbors positively identified her. Upon opening the crypt, only rocks remained inside. No reasonable explanation emerged. Contemporary investigators have cataloged distinctive zombification indicators. A unique vocal quality exists, termed zombie voice, featuring notable nasal characteristics. The explanation: soft palate paralysis resulting from tetrodotoxin exposure. Curiously, this symptom manifests in all former zombies. Port-au-Prince hospital psychiatrists maintain detailed records of such cases. Recent decades brought dozens of individuals sharing comparable experiences through their departments. Each describes periods of departure, subsequent revival, and extended years of emotional disconnection. Former victims report particularly haunting specifics. They recall not just their passing moment, but funeral sounds, family discussions, even sensations of soil covering their caskets. These accounts show striking consistency, as though everyone endured identical nightmares. The challenge lies in obtaining rigorous scientific validation for these cases. Rural Haitian areas rarely maintain precise documentation. Official recordings happen approximately, and interment occurs within hours. However, medical practitioners increasingly accept the phenomenon's authenticity. A 2024 research project in European Archives of Otorhinolaryngology examined zombie voice through neurotoxicological analysis. Researchers verified that such vocal modifications could genuinely stem from tetrodotoxin exposure. Most chilling of all, former victims report awareness during their zombie servitude while being powerless to resist. It resembles sleep paralysis extended across years. Imagine being imprisoned within your own physical form, unable to request assistance. Let's trace zombie transformation from Haitian origins to Hollywood entertainment. The pivotal moment arrived in 1968 with George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Interestingly, the film never uses zombie. Romero simply termed them living dead. Romero found inspiration in Richard Matheson's 1954 work, I Am Legend. Rather than vampires, he conceived flesh-consuming corpses emerging from burial sites. The filmmaker later acknowledged, "We borrowed the concept and totally reimagined it. Haitian zombies felt too foreign for American viewers." Notably, Night of the Living Dead premiered merely 5 months following Martin Luther King's assassination. The movie's racial elements, an African-American protagonist amid white zombies, were quite intentional. Romero crafted social commentary but created cult horror instead. 1978 delivered Dawn of the Dead, zombies invading shopping centers. This represented clear consumer culture critique. The deceased drift mindlessly through retail spaces like bargain hunters during holiday sales. Doesn't this mirror contemporary smartphone-wielding crowds? Genuine popularity surge occurred in 1983 courtesy of Michael Jackson. His Thriller music video reached billions globally. Zombies shifted from terror objects to mainstream cultural icons. Choreographed Undead, completely unexpected. The 2000s witnessed another zombie evolution. 28 days later, substituted supernatural resurrection with infectious rage. Zombies became rapid, hostile, resembling diseased creatures more than mystical beings. This mirrored emerging anxieties concerning pandemics, biological warfare, worldwide disasters. The Walking Dead brought zombie scenarios to their ultimate expression. Primary threats aren't zombies themselves, but fellow humans. This became social theater set against civilizational breakdown. Zombies transformed into background elements for exploring human character. Contemporary zombies even developed romantic storylines. Warm Bodies presented zombies experiencing love. This completely contradicts Haitian living dead, devoid of all feeling. Entertainment industry converted slavery symbols into romantic ideals. By 2025, streaming platforms have produced countless zombie series, from Korea's successful Kingdom to comedic Santa Clarita Diet. Zombies accommodate every demographic, from youth to elderly audiences. Cultural globalization demonstrated. Yet here's the contradiction. As zombies gained mainstream popularity, they distanced themselves from Haitian origins. Contemporary audiences view zombies as disease threats rather than colonial oppression consequences. Each new production rewrites this history. Let's examine this further. Zombies transcend mere monsters, representing powerful symbolic imagery. Every generation projects their anxieties onto these figures. 1960s zombie horror reflected nuclear warfare fears. Recall how Romero's film attributed zombie emergence to space radiation? During the 1970s, zombies embodied capitalist system failures. Dawn of the Dead set in retail environments created direct parallels. Thoughtless shoppers operating automatically. Don't social platforms convert us into zombies mechanically browsing content feeds? The 2000s introduced epidemic anxieties. 28 days later, Resident Evil, 2004's Dawn of the Dead remake, zombie outbreaks consistently spread like infectious diseases. These proved prophetic considering COVID-19. Yet screenwriters merely captured societal attitudes. Racial dynamics remain present too. Notice how classic zombie cinema typically shows undead hordes threatening small, normal groups. This reflects archetypal outsider fears, anxieties about masses deemed different from us. Highly applicable during current migration debates. Mental health professionals identify zombies with individuality loss fears. Modern civilization standardizes people, similar housing, employment, leisure activities. Zombies represent us after losing analytical thinking capabilities. Their frequent depiction in uniforms or professional attire isn't coincidental. Today's romantic zombies mirror evolving social attitudes. Society demonstrates greater acceptance of difference. Where zombies once represented pure evil, they now can be circumstantial victims, deserving compassion and affection. Sociologists interpret zombie apocalypse popularity as indicating governmental trust crises. Most films portray state institutions as helpless against outbreaks. Individuals survive independently, forming alternative communities. This sounds familiar following recent pandemic experiences? However, zombies' most profound symbolism addresses mortality fears and questions about human essence. Zombies inhabit spaces between existence and its absence. What separates living from deceased? Spiritual presence, awareness, emotional capacity. These inquiries gain importance amid artificial intelligence advancement. Modern zombies have expanded well beyond entertainment media. Complete zombie tourism industries operate throughout America. Travelers visit Haiti specifically to witness locations where legends originated. Regional tour companies provide zombie expeditions, including cemetery visits and authentic Bokor encounters. America's Centers for Disease Control playfully created zombie apocalypse response protocols. Behind this humor lies serious purpose, generating interest in emergency preparedness. CDC officials explain, zombie apocalypse readiness means readiness for any crisis. Zombie walks have become widespread events across dozens of global cities. Thousands costume themselves as undead and parade through streets. This represents modern versions of traditional festivals where participants dressed as supernatural beings to ward off actual spirits. Academic institutions haven't ignored this trend. Universities now offer zombie anthropology coursework, examining these myths' influence on collective consciousness. Who could have predicted Haitian folklore becoming scholarly thesis topics? Mental health professionals even incorporate zombie themes when addressing anxieties and psychological trauma. This approach, termed zombie therapy, involves patients role-playing survival scenarios to combat depression and worry. Ancient terrors now treat contemporary mental distress. What have we discovered about zombies? They're not simply products of disturbed imagination, but intricate cultural phenomena rooted in genuine history. Haitian Bokors could indeed produce living dead through neurotoxin applications. Science has validated this, though numerous aspects remain unexplained. Zombies transformed from colonial slavery representations into universal metaphors for human anxieties. Each historical period recognized their own contemporary concerns reflected, from atomic threats through pandemics to social disconnection. What fresh fears might future zombies embody? Perhaps tomorrow's undead will fear software updates rather than traditional weapons. Here's our question for you. Which current developments might inspire new monster archetypes? Machine intelligence, environmental changes, genetic modification. Share your ideas in comments. They could inspire the next breakthrough horror storyline. Remember, possibly at this very moment, some modern Bokor experiments with novel compounds. Scientific progress never stops, and human fears prove eternal. Follow our channel to stay updated on investigations revealing myths that proved real. Our next episode examines another mystery that will challenge your understanding of reality's limits.